Have you ever wondered what it's really like to live alone as an older person? Whether you've experienced it yourself or just thought about the challenges that come with aging and independence, living alone presents a unique set of difficulties that many don't openly discuss. From isolation and safety concerns to the emotional toll of solitude, the journey of living solo in later years isn't always as liberating as it seems. In this video, we're diving deep into the 7 downsides of living alone as an older person and exploring powerful strategies to not just cope but thrive. You'll learn how to build a supportive routine, find new ways to stay connected, and turn the challenges of aging into opportunities for growth. By the end, you'll have practical tips that can transform your daily life, help you build a safer environment, and offer emotional support through the changes you face. Stay tuned as we break down the real, unspoken struggles, like dealing with loneliness, financial strain, and technology gaps, and how overcoming these challenges can actually make you stronger and more resilient. By watching until the end, you'll discover how to create a fulfilling, vibrant life even when living alone, and how to turn each obstacle into a stepping stone toward greater independence. You won't want to miss these insightful tips that can make all the difference. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. Number 1. Isolation and loneliness. One of the most profound and heartbreaking challenges many older adults face is the overwhelming sense of isolation and loneliness. As the years pass and the familiar rhythms of daily life change, the absence of constant companionship can leave a deep emotional void. Without the comforting presence of those around them, older adults often find themselves drifting in a sea of silence, struggling to stay anchored to a world that feels increasingly distant. The weight of this emotional isolation can feel suffocating, as if the very walls around them are closing in. Sarah, a woman who has walked this difficult path, opens up about her experience with the crushing loneliness she felt after the passing of her beloved husband. "I remember the first winter I spent alone after my husband passed away. The silence in the house felt deafening, almost suffocating, like a heavy blanket pressing down on me. The stillness in every room was a stark reminder that the laughter, the conversations, and the warmth we once shared were gone. The days seemed to stretch on endlessly, with no end in sight, as if I were stuck in an unchanging, painful loop. I missed the simple, yet precious moments. Those small exchanges over dinner, or the shared laughter that filled the room while we watched our favorite TV shows. It was as though the world had stopped, and I was left behind in a desolate, quiet space." But Sarah's journey didn't end there. In the face of her sorrow, she found the strength to rebuild her life, piece by fragile piece. "I knew I had to do something to combat the loneliness that threatened to consume me. I decided to join a local book club, a place where I could immerse myself in the world of literature and meet kindred spirits who shared my passion. The joy of discussing books with new friends, who understood my love for reading, helped breathe life back into my soul. But I didn't stop there. I also began volunteering at the community center, offering my time and energy to help with their after-school programs. The children's infectious laughter and their unbridled enthusiasm brought a lightness to my heart that I hadn't felt in so long. Their energy reminded me that life still held so much promise and joy." She also embraced the digital age, using technology to bridge the gap between her and her family. "I set up regular video calls with my children and grandchildren, and even though we were miles apart, seeing their faces, hearing their voices, and hearing about their days made me feel connected in ways I never imagined. It was as though their presence, even through a screen, filled the space that had once felt so empty." If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Through these small, yet incredibly meaningful changes, Sarah learned that building a routine that includes social activities, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, could have a transformative impact. It wasn't easy, but with every book club meeting, every joyful moment with the children, and every video call, the walls of isolation started to crumble. The loneliness that had once seemed insurmountable began to lose its grip on her heart. Through these efforts, she discovered a profound truth. Even in the darkest of times, we can find ways to reconnect, heal, and rebuild the relationships that nurture our spirit and help us thrive. 2. Safety concerns. Living alone can often feel like a beautiful embrace of independence, offering the freedom to live life on your terms. However, it's not without its risks, especially when the unexpected happens. The quiet solitude that provides comfort during peaceful moments can quickly turn into a source of profound anxiety when safety becomes a concern. For those in their golden years, dealing with health challenges or limited mobility, the fear of being alone in an emergency can feel suffocating, a constant, invisible weight on the heart. This is something Naomi knows all too well, having faced a situation that tested both her physical and emotional strength. Her story serves as a reminder of how fragile life can be, and how small moments can dramatically shift our sense of security. Naomi vividly recalls the terrifying experience that led her to rethink the safety of living alone. "This was a huge concern for me," she shared, her voice carrying a deep sincerity that revealed the raw emotions behind the words. "It hit home one summer when I had a minor fall in my garden. It wasn't serious, thankfully, I wasn't hurt, but the fear and shock I felt afterward were overwhelming." She paused as if the memory still weighed heavily on her heart. "The thought that I could have been lying there, in pain, with no one around to help, was terrifying. It wasn't just the fall that scared me, it was the silence that followed. I realized in that instant just how vulnerable I am when I'm on my own. And it was at that moment I knew something had to change." The sense of isolation and the haunting thought of a future accident led Naomi to take immediate action. "I couldn't ignore the possibility of something worse happening," she continued, her words now infused with the clarity that came with understanding the gravity of her situation. "I decided to invest in a medical alert system, something I could wear discreetly, like a bracelet. I needed something I could rely on, something that would reassure me that if anything ever happened again, help would be just a button away. The peace of mind it has given me is incredible. It's like having a personal lifeline to the world, a safety net that's always there, quietly supporting me in the background." But Naomi didn't stop there. She knew that even the best safety systems couldn't replace the power of human connection and the comfort of knowing someone genuinely cares. "I also set up a simple check-in system with my neighbor, who's not just a neighbor to me, but a true friend," Naomi explained, her voice softening with affection. "Every morning, without fail, I send her a quick text just to let her know that I'm okay. It's a small gesture, but it means the world to me. If, for any reason, she doesn't hear back from me, she knows to come over and check on me. It's a simple system, but it's incredibly effective, and it gives me such peace knowing that someone is looking out for me. It's reassuring to know that I'm not truly alone, even when I'm living by myself." The small, daily text might seem insignificant to some, but for Naomi, it's a lifeline that strengthens her sense of security and deepens her connection to the world around her. "It's more than just a precaution," Naomi added thoughtfully. "It's a reminder that there's always someone there for me, even when I'm by myself. It's the feeling of knowing I'm not forgotten, not invisible in the world. It gives me a sense of belonging, of connection, and most importantly, it reminds me that I matter, that there are people who care enough to make sure I'm okay. It's comforting in a way that's hard to put into words." Naomi's journey to reclaim her sense of safety and security has taught her that, even in the quiet moments, when everything seems calm and still, there are invisible threads of connection that keep her tethered to others. It's a reminder that no matter how independent we become, we are never truly alone. There are always people, whether through technology or simple gestures, looking out for us and making sure we're okay. For Naomi, that sense of security isn't just about having a safety system in place. It's about the comfort and love that come from knowing some people will be there, checking in, and offering their support when needed. It's the quiet power of community and the deep, unspoken connection that sustains us all. 3. Household maintenance. As the years go by, the once simple tasks of household maintenance can become increasingly overwhelming. What once felt like second nature, the act of tidying up, scrubbing the floors, maintaining a pristine home, or nurturing a garden, can slowly evolve into insurmountable challenges. The physical demands on the body can increase, and what once seemed like a manageable chore list becomes an exhausting, endless cycle. The weight of it all can start to feel like a burden, leaving one with the overwhelming sensation that no matter how hard they try, the tasks continue to pile up. Jane, now reflecting deeply on her own experience, opened up with raw honesty about how her once meticulous routines became a source of stress. "I used to take so much pride in keeping a spotless home. I loved knowing that everything was in its place, the floors gleaming, the furniture polished, and the garden flourishing with vibrant colors," she said, her voice tinged with nostalgia for the ease of those earlier days. "But as I got older, it became increasingly harder to keep up with everything. I had to admit to myself that I wasn't the same person I once was. I couldn't do all the things I had done so easily before, and it was a hard pill to swallow. I started to notice the small cracks. Things that used to be simple now felt like monumental tasks. There was one particular day that she will never forget. It became a turning point in her journey, a moment that forced her to confront the reality of her situation. I was standing in my garden one afternoon," Jane recalled, her eyes clouded with a memory. The flowers that once bloomed beautifully were now buried beneath overgrown weeds, the hedges had turned wild, and the grass had gone untrimmed for far too long. I looked at the piles of dishes in the sink, and I felt my chest tighten. It wasn't just the mess, it was the realization that I simply couldn't do it all anymore. I stood there, feeling completely defeated, as if everything had gotten away from me. That moment, though heavy with frustration and sadness, sparked something inside her. An inner voice telling her it was time to make a change, to let go of the unrealistic expectations she'd placed on herself. That was the moment when I realized I had to prioritize what mattered and simplify my life, she said, her tone softer now, as if she had finally made peace with the decision. I knew I couldn't keep trying to do everything on my own. It was time to let go of the need for perfection and embrace a new way of living. The first step she took toward that transformation was one of the most difficult decisions she had ever made. She decided to downsize to a smaller, more manageable home, one that wouldn't require constant maintenance or feel like an endless series of demands. It wasn't easy to make that choice. I loved my old home. It was filled with memories, and it was hard to let go of the space I had spent so many years filling with love and care, Jane confessed. But once I moved into a smaller house, everything changed. It was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. The space felt easier to maintain, and I no longer felt the crushing burden of keeping up with a house that was too big for me. It made such a difference, more than I ever imagined. But Jane's transformation didn't stop there. The next step was learning to ask for help, something that, at first, she found incredibly difficult. For so long, I had prided myself on doing everything myself, she said, her voice tinged with vulnerability. I didn't want to admit that I needed help. It felt like a loss of independence, like I was giving up something essential about who I was. However, as she continued reflecting on the overwhelming demands of daily life, Jane realized that her reluctance to ask for help was only adding to her stress. She was denying herself the opportunity to live more freely, to enjoy life without constantly feeling drained by chores. I decided to hire a local teenager to help me with the garden, Jane explained, her voice now tinged with relief. At first, I felt guilty. I wondered if I was being lazy, but then I realized how much of a difference it made. The garden, once overrun with weeds, began to take shape again. It was a small investment, but it gave me back my peace of mind. Along with hiring help for the garden, Jane also found a cleaning service to take care of the heavier tasks around the house. The things she simply didn't have the energy or physical strength to do anymore. Having someone come in to help with the cleaning was a game changer. It took away the constant worry about whether or not I was doing enough. The house still felt clean and organized, but I wasn't the one exhausting myself trying to do everything all at once, she shared. It was like opening a door to freedom. I could relax without feeling the weight of the world pressing down on me. Through these changes, Jane discovered something incredibly valuable: a new way of living that allowed her to enjoy life again. She created a schedule for maintaining her home that was both manageable and realistic. It didn't demand perfection, but it allowed her to keep things in check without overwhelming herself. Having a set maintenance schedule has been a lifesaver, she said, a sense of calm in her voice. It gives me a clear plan, and I don't feel so stressed about keeping up with everything. I can focus on the things that truly bring me joy, spending time with family, reading my favorite books, or simply enjoying the peace of a well-maintained home. Despite the initial difficulty of asking for help, Jane now looks back with gratitude and understanding. At first, I was reluctant to ask for assistance, she admitted. But once I did, everything changed for the better. It's hard to let go of that sense of independence, but I've come to realize that accepting help doesn't make me any less capable. It makes me more able to enjoy the life I have left. It's a gift I gave myself. Now, Jane lives a life that's simpler, more fulfilling, and much less stressful. She's learned to embrace her new reality, and in doing so, she's found peace and joy that she thought had been lost. Letting go of the idea that I had to do everything myself has been one of the most freeing experiences of my life, Jane reflected with a gentle smile. It's allowed me to focus on what truly matters: my well-being, my relationships, and the moments that bring me happiness. And for that, I am deeply grateful. 4. Financial strain. Living alone often means shouldering the entire weight of financial responsibility, a daunting challenge that can feel overwhelming, especially when you're relying on a fixed income. The pressure can seem insurmountable, leaving you feeling isolated in the struggle to make ends meet. But in the face of hardship, there is hope, and wisdom can be found in the stories of those who've walked this difficult path before us. Take Janet's journey, for example, whose experience offers not only valuable lessons but a profound sense of resilience. After the devastating loss of her husband, Janet was thrust into the overwhelming task of managing their finances on her own. It was a terrifying moment, she confides, her voice carrying the weight of those early days. I felt like I was drowning in responsibilities, and I didn't know where to begin. But I had no choice. I had to find a way to regain control, to navigate the fear and uncertainty that gripped me. In those dark moments of uncertainty, Janet discovered a powerful tool that transformed her entire approach to money: budgeting. It may seem like a simple, almost mundane task, but for Janet, creating a detailed budget was the first step in reclaiming control over her life. It felt like a lifeline, she explains. I broke everything down, tracking every expense meticulously. Little by little, I saw where I could trim the excess without sacrificing the things that truly mattered: my sense of dignity, my quality of life. Janet also unearthed hidden gems in her community that helped ease her financial burden. Senior discounts at local stores became a lifeline, offering her much-needed relief, while community resources provided invaluable financial advice. I learned to seek help where I could, to lean on the resources available to me, Janet shares, a sense of pride in her voice. The assistant was there, waiting for me to find it. Perhaps most striking of all, Janet found solace and hope in unexpected places: government programs designed to support seniors. One of the most impactful discoveries she made was utility assistance programs, which helped lower her monthly bills, easing the strain on her budget. The financial relief was profound, she says, reflecting on how it brought peace to a once chaotic situation. These programs weren't just about saving money. They were about restoring my sense of security, giving me the peace of mind to breathe again. Janet acknowledges that budgeting can seem tedious at times, but she emphasizes the profound sense of empowerment it has brought her. At first, it felt like an endless chore, she admits. But as time went on, it became a symbol of my strength, a way to take back control in a world that had felt completely out of my hands. Now, I know that no matter what happens, I have the tools to handle it. The security I've built through careful planning has become my foundation, and I never want to let go of it. Janet's story is a testament to the power of perseverance and the quiet strength that can emerge from times of great difficulty. Through careful budgeting, seeking out support, and embracing every resource available, she turned what seemed like an insurmountable challenge into a journey of self-empowerment, proving that even in the face of financial hardship, there is a way forward. 5. Health and wellness. Taking charge of your physical and mental well-being can feel like an uphill battle, especially when you're navigating life alone. The absence of external motivation can make it easy to slip into unhealthy habits, and the once simple tasks of staying active or eating well suddenly seem like distant, unattainable goals. This challenge can weigh heavily on the heart, leaving you to wonder if anyone truly understands the struggles of maintaining a healthy lifestyle in solitude. As James candidly shared, there were days when I just couldn't summon the energy to cook a meal for myself. It felt pointless to spend time preparing food when there was no one else to share it with. And the thought of exercise. It seemed like an effort too big to make, so my routine fell by the wayside. These words are filled with the quiet despair that many face when isolated, when the weight of each decision feels burdensome. But even in his low moments, James realized a profound truth. Taking care of yourself is not just an option, it's a lifeline. James's turning point came not from a dramatic moment, but from a quiet realization that his health was the foundation of everything. His happiness, his future, and the joy he wanted to reclaim. I knew that if I didn't take action, I would lose more than just physical health. I would lose the zest for life itself, he said with a reflective tone. It was this deep understanding that ignited a change in him. Recognizing the importance of staying active, James made the brave decision to join a local senior exercise class, something that felt intimidating at first. The thought of working out with strangers in a group setting made him nervous, but the promise of feeling better, both physically and emotionally, was enough to push him out of his comfort zone. Little did he know, this decision would transform his life in ways he never imagined. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. Not only did the exercise classes help him stay physically fit, but they also opened doors to a social life he had longed for. The group became my second family, James said, his voice warm with gratitude. The camaraderie, the jokes, the mutual encouragement, it was everything I needed. The fitness part was just the beginning, but the friendships I built were what kept me going. With each class, James grew stronger, not only in his body but in his spirit. He realized that exercise wasn't just about physical strength. It was about finding strength through connection, through sharing moments of vulnerability and triumph with others who truly understood. But even with the physical aspect in place, James knew that wellness wasn't just about movement. It was about nourishing his body from the inside out. I decided to sign up for a meal delivery service tailored to older adults, James explained. At first, he was hesitant, unsure if a pre-packaged meal service could truly meet his nutritional needs or if it would be another fad that didn't last. But when he leaped, he quickly discovered how life-changing it was. The meals weren't just easy to prepare, they were tailored to my needs. Fresh, wholesome ingredients packed with the right nutrients. And more than that, they were enjoyable. Eating healthy became something I looked forward to, not something I dreaded. The days of feeling uninspired by his cooking disappeared, replaced by an eagerness to savor every bite. Healthy eating had transformed from a chore into an act of self-love. It was here, in this new routine, that James discovered the true magic of wellness. It wasn't just about looking after his physical body, but about creating moments of joy, creativity, and discovery in the process. I also signed up for cooking classes at the community center, he said with a smile. I had never thought of myself as someone who could enjoy cooking. However, as I learned new recipes and techniques, I found that I could create meals that were not only healthy but delicious and fun to make. It was an experience that brought me joy every time I stepped into the kitchen. These classes not only helped him expand his culinary repertoire but also rekindled a passion for nourishing both body and soul. He learned that cooking didn't have to be a solitary task. It could be a creative outlet, a chance to explore new flavors, and a celebration of health. James's journey is a testament to the power of routine and self-care. The combination of regular exercise, balanced nutrition, and mental stimulation didn't just improve his physical health. It restored his sense of purpose and connected him with others in meaningful ways. A healthy lifestyle isn't just about the choices you make for your body. It's about creating a life that brings joy, fulfillment, and connection. And that, James realized, was the ultimate form of wellness. By taking small steps to care for himself, he had woven a rich tapestry of physical vitality, mental clarity, and emotional connection that had reignited his passion for life. In the end, the lesson was clear. It's not enough to simply go through the motions of living. To truly thrive, and to truly live with intention, we must invest in the things that nourish us: our bodies, our minds, and our relationships. Whether it's through the companionship found in a fitness class, the joy of creating a healthy meal, or the quiet satisfaction of knowing you've taken steps to improve your future, each of these decisions builds a life worth living. For James, the health journey was a reminder that, even in solitude, we have the power to create lives filled with connection, joy, and wellness. 6. Emotional well-being. Living alone can sometimes feel like navigating through an endless storm of emotions, with loneliness wrapping around you like an impenetrable fog. The silence that fills an empty home, once perhaps a comforting space of solitude, can slowly start to feel suffocating, almost as if the quiet is pressing in on every side. The absence of familiar voices, the absence of laughter, and the absence of companionship leave room for an emotional burden that can quickly overwhelm the soul. In these moments, anxiety and depression can creep in like shadows, turning even the simplest tasks into monumental challenges. Negative thoughts can take root, growing deeper with each passing day, until they feel impossible to shake. Mark knows this struggle all too well. His experience, though painful, has also been one of immense personal growth. He reflects on his darkest days. There were times when the quietness of my house felt so heavy, like it was suffocating me from all sides. I could almost feel the weight of my loneliness pressing down on my chest, making every breath harder to take. The silence in the house would echo back all the thoughts I didn't want to hear. Thoughts of failure, fear, and uncertainty about my future. The absence of the people I loved felt like a constant ache in my heart, one that I couldn't escape. It seemed like the walls were closing in on me, and I didn't know how to break free. It was amid this profound isolation that Mark learned one of his most important life lessons: that even in the darkest moments, there is always the potential for change. He made the conscious decision to actively combat the negative thoughts that seemed to overwhelm him, choosing instead to cultivate a mindset rooted in hope and positivity. I had to learn to break the cycle of negativity, Mark admits. I realized that, while I couldn't change the fact that I was living alone, I could control how I responded to my thoughts and emotions. I started small, finding simple moments of joy in the day, even if it was just watching the sunrise or listening to my favorite song. These moments were like tiny sparks of light in a very dark place, and little by little, they helped me rebuild a sense of peace inside myself. It wasn't easy, though. The journey to emotional well-being required more than just positive thinking. Mark needed something that would not only occupy his time but also nurture his soul. That's when he rediscovered his love for painting, a passion he had abandoned long ago. What began as a small experiment quickly became his sanctuary, a safe space where he could pour his emotions onto the canvas, giving his sadness, his frustration, and his hope a place to exist outside of himself. Each brushstroke was a form of therapy, a way of healing that allowed him to express what words couldn't. Painting gave me a voice when I didn't think I had one left. It became my refuge, a place where I could process my emotions and confront my fears. It wasn't just about creating art, it was about healing my heart, one stroke at a time. As Mark continued to paint, he began exploring other practices that could help him find emotional balance and stay grounded. He embraced mindfulness and meditation, learning to stay present in the moment and letting go of the overwhelming anxiety about the future. These practices helped him regain his center, creating space between his emotions and his reactions. With each meditation session, he felt the grip of his anxiety loosen, and for the first time in a long time, he felt a sense of calm that wasn't dependent on external circumstances. Mindfulness taught me how to stay in the present and not be consumed by what-ifs or past regrets, Mark shares. It wasn't about escaping my emotions, but learning to accept them, sit with them, and eventually let them go. But perhaps the most profound realization for Mark came when he acknowledged that seeking help from others was not a sign of weakness but rather an act of great strength. I used to think that asking for help meant I wasn't strong enough to handle things on my own, Mark admits. But the truth is, seeking professional help when you need it is one of the most empowering things you can do. Talking to a therapist gave me tools I didn't even know existed. Tools that helped me manage my emotions and reframe my thinking. It was like someone handed me a map to navigate the stormy seas of my mind. The perspective I gained from therapy opened my eyes to a new way of living. I wasn't trapped in my struggles anymore. I had the strength to rise above them. Mark's journey is a powerful testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome even the most challenging of emotional landscapes. It shows us that no matter how isolating or overwhelming life may feel, there are always ways to find our way back to peace. It wasn't easy, Mark reflects, and there were times when I wanted to give up. But I kept pushing through, and little by little, I found my way back to myself. I learned that I was not defined by my loneliness or my struggles. I was defined by my strength to keep going, to keep healing, and to keep choosing hope, even when it felt impossible. Mark's story is a reminder to us all. When life feels unbearably quiet, when the emotional weight becomes too much to carry, there is always a way forward. Whether through passions that heal the heart, practices that center the mind, or the courage to seek support, we can find our way back to emotional well-being, one step at a time. 7. Social stigma. In society, there exists a profound and often suffocating stigma surrounding the idea of living alone as an older person. Many view it with judgment, seeing it as a painful symbol of abandonment or, worse, as a mark of personal failure. This stigma weighs heavily on the shoulders of those who find themselves navigating the complexities of solitary living in their later years. Agnes, however, offers a powerful testament to the strength and beauty that can come from embracing this path. At first, I felt overwhelmed with self-doubt, she confides. I was haunted by the fear of what others might think, worried that they would see me as a person left behind, forgotten, or not good enough. But in time, I came to realize something deeply empowering. Living alone is not a symbol of failure, but a powerful declaration of my independence and resilience. Agnes' journey is one of profound self-discovery, where she found strength in solitude and grew to cherish the freedom it offered. Living alone takes more courage and fortitude than most people realize, she reflects. It's a choice that requires a deep understanding of who you are and what you stand for. I came to see it not as a lonely existence, but as a life that I had sculpted with my own hands, on my own terms. With this newfound perspective, Agnes sought to share her journey with the world. She started a blog, pouring her heart and soul into documenting her experiences, triumphs, and the occasional challenges she faced along the way. The feedback I received was overwhelmingly positive, she shares with a smile. It was incredible to hear from others who were inspired by my story. Many reached out to tell me that my words had helped them feel less alone, and that my example had empowered them to embrace their independence. Agnes' story is a reminder of the importance of owning your narrative. Don't let the world define your life or your worth, she says, her voice filled with quiet strength. Be proud of the life you've built, no matter how different it may seem to others. The beauty of living alone lies not in isolation, but in the incredible freedom to shape your own story, to live authentically, and to celebrate every step of your journey. Through her resilience and courage, Agnes has not only overcome the stigma but has become a beacon of hope for others, showing that living solo can be a life rich with meaning, purpose, and strength. 8. Technology gap. For many older adults, the rapid pace at which technology evolves can feel like an insurmountable challenge, leading to overwhelming frustration and a deep sense of isolation. It's easy to feel left behind as the world around you moves forward with gadgets, apps, and systems that seem alien and complex. However, Clara's story offers a powerful reminder that it's never too late to learn and adapt. She recalls the moment her daughter gifted her a smartphone, a seemingly simple gesture that left her feeling both excited and intimidated. I remember feeling completely overwhelmed when my daughter handed me that sleek, shiny smartphone. It felt like a world apart from my old, simple phone that I'd known for years, Clara shares with a thoughtful pause, her voice tinged with the vulnerability of facing something unfamiliar. It was confusing, complicated, and I felt like a stranger in my own hands. But rather than succumbing to her frustration, Clara made a conscious choice to take control of her situation. She started small, permitting herself to step beyond the comfort zone of what she already knew. She signed up for a basic computer class at her local library, a decision that turned out to be a life-changing one. The class was an eye-opener. The instructor was so patient, explaining things in a way that made everything clearer, one step at a time, Clara recalls. It wasn't just the lessons themselves that made the difference, but the gentle encouragement and support she received, which turned the learning process into something both manageable and rewarding. Perhaps the most heartwarming part of Clara's journey was the unexpected joy she found in asking her grandchildren for help. What started as a practical need quickly blossomed into moments of precious bonding. At first, I felt a little embarrassed asking them to teach me. But they were so excited to show me new things. It wasn't just about technology anymore. It was about sharing experiences, laughing together, and learning from one another. They loved showing me how to use new features, and I loved seeing their faces light up with pride, she says, her eyes glowing with the warmth of these shared moments. Through embracing technology, Clara discovered a new world of connection. Social media became a bridge to her family and friends. Video calls allowed her to see loved ones more often, and virtual events and online classes opened doors to enriching experiences she never thought possible. It's been such a gift, Clara reflects. The world of technology is not something to fear but to embrace. It's helped me stay connected, active, and engaged in ways I never imagined. And I'll be honest, I feel more empowered now than ever before. Clara's journey serves as a testament to the power of perseverance, patience, and the willingness to step into the unknown. Her message is clear: it's never too late to embrace the new, to learn, and to grow. The rewards of staying tech-savvy are immeasurable, offering a profound sense of connection and purpose, no matter the stage of life. 9. Transportation challenges. As we age, even the simplest tasks, like getting from one place to another, can become daunting, especially when driving, once a symbol of freedom and independence, is no longer a safe or viable option. For many, this shift can feel like the walls of isolation slowly closing in. Suddenly, the world outside seems farther away, and access to the things we need, doctor's appointments, grocery stores, or visits with loved ones, becomes a daunting challenge. Alice, like so many others, found herself facing these very struggles, but her story holds a transformative power that can inspire others. She recalls the fear and uncertainty she felt when she knew it was time to give up driving. At first, I was overwhelmed, she says, her voice carrying the weight of the experience. I feared how I would manage without the independence I once had. How would I get to the doctor? What if I couldn't pick up the essentials for myself or visit the people I loved? Alice's worry was understandable. In many areas, public transportation options are sparse, and relying on family or friends can sometimes feel like a burden, a responsibility you don't want to place on others. But Alice refused to let these obstacles define her. She took a step back, choosing to see this challenge not as an end, but as an opportunity for reinvention. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Alice dug deep into her community's resources, finding solutions that restored her autonomy. I didn't want to give up my freedom, so I started researching alternatives, she explains. It took some time, but I found options that were not only practical but worked for me. One of the most empowering changes Alice made was learning how to use a ride-sharing app, a tool she never imagined herself using. I was amazed by how simple it was to pick up, she smiles softly, reflecting on the moment. What felt intimidating at first quickly became second nature, and I felt in control again. In addition to ride-sharing, Alice found that many senior services offered scheduled rides for specific needs: medical appointments, grocery shopping, and even social outings. The local senior transportation service is a lifeline, she shares, her voice steady and strong. It's not just about getting from one place to another. It's about keeping that connection to the world around you, whether it's to the grocery store or a visit to a dear friend. Furthermore, Alice discovered that many community centers provide free or low-cost shuttle services for seniors, ensuring that transportation remains accessible even for those on a fixed income. By embracing these options, Alice has not only preserved her independence but has deepened her sense of belonging to her community. I realized something important through this experience, Alice reflects, her eyes gleaming with newfound wisdom. It's not about what you lose, it's about finding new ways to live, to move, and to stay connected. These services have allowed me to continue living my life fully, without feeling like a prisoner to my circumstances. In a world that often associates aging with loss, Alice's journey is a testament to resilience, adaptability, and the boundless power of human connection. Through simple, thoughtful adjustments, she has reclaimed the ability to live life on her terms, showing us all that with a little creativity and determination, we can navigate any challenge life throws our way. As we reflect on Alice's inspiring journey, we've seen how challenges that come with aging, like transportation difficulties, can be transformed into opportunities for growth and empowerment. What have you learned so far from Alice's experience? How can you apply the insights from her story to your own life or the lives of those you care about? I invite you to take a moment and think about one thing you've learned today and how you can put it into practice. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your reflections. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support helps us continue to bring you valuable content. Thank you for being part of this journey, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.